Namaskar. This is a book. To call it a book would not be correct. It is more than a book. It is a scripture. And we will see why. So, while we talk about this divine book, this divine scripture, we will just take a quick look at what is the context and setting of this book and what are these prayers and meditations, what do they reveal, and then we will look at what should be our approach when we have this book in our hand, when we have it in front of us. What can be our approach? The mother is, of course, she has written this book, she has written these prayers, her consciousness is there in these prayers. She guides, she makes us read, she makes us understand. So with this thought, let us talk. Maybe one can say an introduction in my limited way of the prayers and meditations. For me, it is the mother's love for me. Sri Aurobindo says, the divine does the sadhana first for the world and then gives what is brought down to others. There can be no sadhana without realizations and experiences. These prayers and meditations are a record of the mother's own experiences and realizations on this yogic path. These prayers have been written in an identification with the earth consciousness. It is the mother in the human form, I will not say lower form, but it is the human form, praying to the divine transcendental mother, which is herself. So these are prayers of the divine to the divine, by the divine. So, and this process, she is invoking the transcendental mother for the transformation to take place. And this continues, these prayers and these offerings continue till the earth consciousness identifies completely with the supreme consciousness. So there is the divine mother in the human poise, and there is the divine transcendental mother, both being one, but in different poises, both turning to the source. And as the mother calls the source, the sovereign master, the divine master. And she often refers to him as my sweet master. Once a disciple had posed a question to Sri Aurobindo, asking, is the mother human and then she became divine? And Sri Aurobindo dismissed it instantly, saying that this is an erroneous approach. The mother, even in the human form as we know her, she is the divine. And she has always been divine. In every life, she has been divine. So, it is just that in the human poise, but the mother we know her as, she is the mother. She is the mother, she is the transcendental mother, she is the universal mother, she is also the individual mother, the personal mother to all of us. The mother herself, answering a disciple, said, when asked that why did you come like this? Why did you decide to come like one of us? Why you did not come in your true form, the form which is your transcendental form? And the mother said, very sweetly and very beautifully, she said, that if I did not come like you, how could I get close enough to you to say, become what I am? So it is important to feel her, to appreciate her, what she stands for, even in the form that we know her. Our own evolution, spiritual evolution becomes conscious, and it gets accelerated just by the fact, as a consequence of the fact that we have turned to the mother. Such is the power. Now, looking at the context and the settings of these prayers, Sri Aurobindo arrived in Pondicherry in 1910, and the same year, mother's husband, Paul Richard, he also visited Pondicherry, and he had many sessions with Sri Aurobindo. He met him, and then he went back and told the mother, And ever since, the mother had a very strong urge and an irresistible urge and, to visit India, to be in India. So these prayers and meditations emerged round about that time in 1912. This divine scripture, the first prayer written here is dated November 2nd to 1912, and the last prayer is October 23rd, 1937. And the mother writes, when this book came out in the English translation in 1941, and when it got published, the mother gave a note. This book comprises extracts from a diary written during years of intensive yogic discipline. So these are the prayers when she had penned them down when she was undergoing her own yogic discipline, severe discipline, yogic. She was totally into this path of yoga, and these prayers emerged then. It may serve as a spiritual guide to three principal categories of seekers: those who have undertaken self-mastery, those who want to find the road leading to the divine, and those who aspire to consecrate themselves more and more to the divine work. So we can clearly see that there is a hierarchy over here. Those who have undertaken self-mastery. Self-mastery is very basic. Even in our day-to-day life, self-mastery is required. If we get moved by little things in our life, small things, then this yoga will become very, very difficult. So self-mastery of the self, mastery over every little urge, every little hankering, and understanding oneself to master the various aspects, the various, you can say, nooks and corners which we have. So self-mastery is the first step. Then those who want to find the road leading to the divine, those who have embarked on this path, they want to find the divine. They have maybe out of curiosity or maybe out of devotion, they are seeking the divine. Those who aspire to consecrate themselves more and more to the divine work. So the opening has come, the awakening is there, the aspiration is there to be one with the divine and do what the divine wants them to do. So Sri Aurobindo was the first one to actually see these prayers, and when he read them, he wanted them to get published. Mother was a little reluctant, maybe because there are lots of personal things she may have poured out there, and also largely because she said that I have addressed myself as I, which I don't want, but then Sri Aurobindo said that is needed for the yoga. And Sri Aurobindo felt that this collection of prayers and meditations of the mother would be an immense help to the seekers on this path, and also would show what the physical consciousness is capable of achieving. So this has a collection of 313 prayers, especially selected by the mother. This is only 1/5 of the prayers and meditations which she penned down. 4/5 of them she tore and she burned them away. Reasons, divine has her own reasons, but 1/5 she has left behind something which is so poignant, so true, so much of her consciousness is there in these prayers that these are actually, one may call them as the supreme sutras of the integral yoga. There are two books, the Savitri, written by Sri Aurobindo, and Savitri contains the whole of Sri Aurobindo's yoga. And it is in Savitri that he actually established the mother. His own yoga is there, and also the mother is put in the forefront. This book, Prayers and Meditations, this beautiful scripture, this divine scripture, is written by the mother herself while she was doing her yoga. So much of her own consciousness she has put in these. Anyone who reads them, even a little bit, comes in contact with her consciousness. And when this happens, it is like a miracle, it is like a magic that happens. It opens one to the love of the mother. So these are her own realizations and experiences on the path. The mother and Sri Aurobindo worked and have written a lot about the new creation. But while they wrote about the new creation, they also said that it is not important to look at the past. We have to focus on the new creation that is going to come. They worked towards the descent, the crowning of this yoga, that is the descent of the supramental. And whatever they have written about the new creation and whatever are their works, either through letters or through correspondences and all, what they reveal, people, followers, disciples, sadhaks, and whosoever reads their works, often there is this conception that one can understand Sri Aurobindo and the mother through these works. Yes, they can come in contact with their consciousness, very much there, that link will be there. But this is not all. What they have written and penned down is maybe a tiny fraction of what they have not written, what they have not revealed for their own divine reasons. But the works which are directly written by Sri Aurobindo and the mother, and this prayers and meditations, it is written in her. She has penned them down so intensely, with so much of sincerity, humility, and gratitude and love, that they have left behind these sutras for us. The moment we get in touch with these writings, the prayers and the meditations, what they did not reveal, or what they maybe concealed, or what they contained within themselves while they were here on this earth in their physical forms, we get into direct contact with that. And that can manifest in us through a multiple of ways. Sometimes through thoughts, sometimes through dreams, sometimes through visions, sometimes through an awakening of the psychic, sometimes through images, sometimes through visions and experiences. And these could be experiences and or actions or thoughts or impulses which one may not understand in the beginning, but yes, perseverance to go forward on the path with the mother, holding the hand of the mother, surely the mother is going to lead. And then there is the contact becomes more and more and more and more. And finally, what is needed for one to proceed on the path is revealed to the sadhak, is revealed to the one who is holding the hand of the mother. So these are the Supreme Sutras. Now, most of the mystics, when they have talked about, or whenever any scripture has been written, hardly any mystic has talked about their own personal experiences and realizations, their own trials and tribulations on this path. The mother is doing it so candidly. And it is not without reason. When one reads these prayers, one would understand what the mother and why the mother is writing them, what she is actually revealing. She may have written her own yogic experiences, her own realizations, but for us who read this, there is, you can say, there is an abundance of revelations that one can get in touch with directly. One of them being is how to consecrate oneself. How does one consecrate oneself? If you read the prayers and meditations of the mother, the very first prayer actually talks very candidly about the consecration that is done in principle and the consecration which needs to be done in details. So this scripture actually reveals how one can consecrate oneself entirely to the divine, totally and in details. Consecration in principle, in theory, is very easy. We know, yes, we have to unite with the divine. We all know that, okay, this is the path. If one follows this path, one is likely to proceed. And lot is known about the path. Lot is known about why we should unite and all, but this is all in theory and this is all in principle. What is this detailing that the mother is talking of? What is this detailing that the mother reveals in these prayers and meditations? It is very simple. These prayers are the mother's dialogues, her own conversations with the divine. As if the divine is here and now, and I'm talking to the divine. It is so frank, so full of gratitude. And in the very first prayer, if one may read, I'll just read out a small portion of the very first prayer that is there. And maybe that is why Mother chose this prayer as to be the first prayer. It also brings out that while she is writing, this is a written meditation. All these meditations and prayers are written meditations. Now, what is a written meditation and why a written meditation? Because when we write, we objectivize what is subjective in us. When we write, more parts of our being are involved. The eyes, the hands, the gross motor, the fine motor, the intellect, many things get involved. And what happens when we put down in writing is a lot of clarity comes. And this clarity is a very big help on the path of the yoga. Now she says, although, the very first sentence, although my whole being is in theory consecrated to thee, O sublime Master, who art the life, the light, and the love in all things. The very first opening words are so profound. They take you away, jerk you out of any cult, any religion that we may have been following. Bang on, she's talking about the divine being, the life, the light, and the love in all things. Not only in me and you, but in all things. I still find it hard to carry out this consecration in detail. It has taken me several weeks to learn that the reason for this written meditation, its justification, lies in the very fact of addressing it daily to thee. So simple. I just want to communicate with you. I just want to tell you. This is detailing. In this way, I shall put into material shape each day a little of the conversation I have so often with thee. So whole day she is conversing with the divine, and in the morning, as there is a reference in one of the prayers as to, one gets a hint, she must have been writing these prayers in the early morning while she's making a cup of coffee for herself. So while she's making a coffee, the coffee is in the making and she is penning down these thoughts. She is conversing with the divine through and throughout the day. And it is only a part of it, she says, that only this once I want to objectivize, I am putting it, I am conversing, and I want to make it very concrete. I want to give it material shape. So this, when we talk of consecration in principle, it is different. It is there in the mind and we know it. But the moment we start getting into the detail, we start getting into a dialogue with the divine, wonderful things can happen. A very beautiful thing can happen. You're just in direct communion with the divine. Mother is also breaking away all rigid ideas that one needs to sit in a particular posture to meditate, to pray to her. One needs to have very beautiful surroundings around. One needs to go to a particular place to worship. One needs to read a lot of things, do a lot of chantings, visit holy places, and then pray and seek the divine. Mother is not doing any of that. Very simple. She's making some coffee for herself. She's woken up, and her very first dialogue with the divine in the day, she is just putting it down. She just starts conversing with the divine. It is so simple. Can't we do it? This detailing, so simple. Ma, I am going for a walk. Come with me. Ma, I am going to sleep now. Let me put my head on your lap and give me a peaceful sleep. Ma, I am going for a picnic. Ma, I am eating this meal. May this meal serve its purpose. Give me the right energy. Ma, sit with me and have this meal. I offer this meal to you. So simple. You are embarking on a project, Ma, this is my project. And what happens? When we start writing, something very beautiful again happens. You are conversing with the divine and you are putting it. So things are becoming more and more clear. You have a job to do. I am in my office and I have so many things that I need to do. The first thing I do, I pick up my pen and I start writing to the mother the detail. What is the detail? I need to go to this corridor. I need to visit this. I need to meet this person first. Mother, I'm writing. I'm just giving an example. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't do it. But this is just an example. So, why can't we put it to the divine? Do we need any external, you can say, supports or props to converse with the divine? He is very much here and within us, outside us, any which way. You can converse with the divine, go to the garden, see a beautiful flower, get in communion. Oh, what a beautiful flower, Mother, you have created. What beautiful fragrance. And you start getting in communion with everything divine in everything. Even the inanimate objects, we personalize them, we look after them. But there is a consciousness in the most material things also. We go to the garden and we see a beautiful flower and we get into contact with the divine. That fragrance touches you. And you say, what a beautiful fragrance, Mother. And Mother has, interestingly, when she has narrated an incident where she has gone to the garden to pluck out some vegetables, pull out some vegetables. And she has narrated it so beautifully that, okay, this particular vegetable is telling me, Mother, please take me, Mother, please take me. Some are saying, no, Mother, I am not yet ready, please don't take me. And she knows which one is ready and she plucks only that. So, such is her simplicity, such is her communion with the divine. It is in everything. The divine is not outside anything. It is in everything. And it is so easy to get in touch with the divine. And this is what her conversations are all about. A problem she is facing, she is putting to the divine. There is a confusion, she is putting to the divine. She is seeking an answer, she is putting it to the divine. There is a prayer where she has said that even a suggestion, she has been able to identify a suggestion that was ailing her, that made her unwell. And through the prayer, she could identify, okay, this is a suggestion. And immediately she invoked, put it to the divine, and that whole problem got dissolved. So here also she's through her prayers, it comes out that problems, confusions, apprehensions laid bare to the divine get an instant answer. There are prayers written by the Mother here that she is seeking an answer and immediately in the same prayer she gets the answer. And this happens quite often. When one gets in, has made it a practice, then it comes very automatically. And sometimes there are prayers which she has written and she gets an answer 2-3 days later on and she pens it down. So all at once, one feels, and these are not only mere conversations, they are the Mother's words. She has put down a material link which she has created for all her children. And this is perhaps the most material link one can hold in one's hand. We are not in Pondicherry, we have not seen the Mother. But when we hold this book, are we not holding her? These are her words. Mother can come to us in any which way, any form. Why not a book? And she says, when you will need the right, Sri Aurobindo has said, when you need to read the right book, the right words, they will come to you. All is required, what is required is just an opening. And the Mother is there. The moment we open to her, everything comes to us. And this is not one prayer or two prayers, this is 313 prayers written by the Mother. And these are not just, also, one would outwardly, it seems, yes, dialogues, such beautiful dialogues, such simple, written so simply. But when one reads the prayers and meditations, one also finds that all at once, this is a book, this is a path of works. There are prayers where the Mother has written about that contemplation, reflection is not enough on the divine. It is not enough. The main work is the transformation, the divine manifestation on earth. That is the main work. For that, even if we have to get out of that contemplation and reflection, we need to get out. And we need to be instruments of the divine. We need to work. There are so many times in many of the prayers she has written that she has had the ultimate realization. She is in that very, very beatific state of union with the divine. And she gets a command, leave it and do the work. And she, without flinching, without even batting an eyelid, she plunges into that work again. And she knows that there is a command, and she lets go of everything just for the divine work. So even the union, she is making a renunciation of even the ultimate union with the divine. Why? Because of her love. Whatever one needs to know about the path, the trials, the experiences, what one needs to do, how one needs to proceed, how one needs to seek the divine, what to seek, how to ask, what to ask, how to put things to the divine, everything is here. So does this not make it a book of knowledge too? So it is a path of works, it is also a path of knowledge that the mother is laying bare before us. Reading these prayers and meditations, one would know how to aspire. One knows how to pray. And this has been endorsed by Sri Aurobindo. A disciple asked, are these prayers not, don't they teach us how to aspire and how to pray? And one word from Sri Aurobindo, yes. And so, it becomes a path of works, it becomes a path of knowledge. And then, this is the crown of all knowledge and works is here, her love. There are so many prayers she has written about. In fact, all her prayers talk of something of the love she feels for the divine in some way or the other. And there are prayers full of, she is aspiring for the divine love. Prayers are just pulsating and reverberating with her love, full of that. But in every prayer, in each prayer, it becomes very evident. She is praying for the whole world. There are these lines very often you come across here. May thy peace reign over the entire earth, the whole world. And she is offering everything. She doesn't only offer herself or people around her or objects around her. She offers the entire creation. There are prayers where she has done this. So, what is it if it is not her love? So, this is also the crown of everything, the crown of works and knowledge, and it is the crowning element, you can say, the crown of all crowns. It is love. It is the path of love. It is bhakti. Nowhere you would find such a bhakti where we renounce the outer world for the inner, so that we benefit from it and we seek the divine inside. And outwardly, we withdraw from the outward world. She is doing just the reverse. She is plunging into the inconscious. She is coming out to work, leaving aside all, letting go of all inner renunciations, all inner union with the divine. So she reverses this path. There is a reversal we see here. And this reversal, one would wonder, how does she do it? It is only because her love is so vast. And in most of the prayers, we will find that there is a question, there is an answer, and there is a prayer for everybody. It is not only for her. So through these prayers, the mother actually is showing us she's, जैसे आँख में उंगली डाल के दिखाना. It is like that, one reads these prayers. Very often, people get very attracted to the mother's literature, and yes, of course, Sri Aurobindo's literature. And there is a lot of thrill and there is a lot of wideness one experiences. But somehow, many people would say, okay, these are the prayers and meditations. These are the prayers. We look at prayers, oh, it's just a prayer. I'll read it later on. Or some people say, okay, the mother's prayers and meditations, I'll read it in the end. And there are people who read it, read a few prayers and they fall in love with this book. And it is very easy to fall in love with this book. And this I'm telling with my own experience. And I'm sure some of you who are sitting over here also would have had the same experience. This is a book of love, her love. It is pouring out. And when we read these prayers, we get in direct contact with her own consciousness. What more can one seek when one is on the path? When the mother is by your side, showing you, making you read her own words, She is the divine teacher, she is the divine mother. And because in this book, all these paths are laid bare. Path of works, path of knowledge, and the path of love, the bhakti. Written by the mother. Is this not a mother of all scriptures?